Hey, welcome. We are in the G.A.C. North now talking about the teams over there, and we're going to be talking to Coach Bichel here about the St. Charles Pirates, which, man, St. Charles has been around long. Being around the G.A.C., St. Charles has always been a mainstay, and the tradition to me is always you have Francis Howell and St. Charles, which been around forever. Right. So, Blanchette.
Yeah.
I think about St. Charles. You still Blanchette?
We still play at Blanchette.
I love Blanchette.
Do you?
Okay, I do. But mostly just because it's like just the old
nostalgic,
school. Like C&H and Blanchette were always kind of the staple. Like playing at those, it felt well. It was like a city park. It was like community. So it was a cool feel to it. Now the actual playing surface and everything else,
it's gotten better. Now the Parks Department, I will say, has done a tremendous job upgrading some things. Mm-hmm. Like they've rebuilt the mound. I think it's probably due for another rebuild this year, but they're starting to level up the playing surface a little better. We have dugouts, nice dugouts now, much improved dugouts. We have a new scoreboard that we partnered with the Parks Department in our Legion program to buy. We're getting the sound system up this spring, instead of having to carry a portable speaker out there every game.
Which is, but I mean, all those. I mean, that's I don't know. I'm just a little old. The Blanchette, but then you start adding the dugouts and everything. I'm like, we didn't have dugouts around that. So
and we got cages now.
Wow.
So those have been there for a few years. So
I'm gonna have to drive over to Blanchette and check that out.
It's not bad.
I was the old school Blanchette where I don't know if you ever played there when it was like it would have about an inch of like that dirt, soft dirt. So when the ground ball came, it had the rooster tail. It would come on the backside.
Yeah.
It was kind of a cool thing that you don't see on many fields.
Yeah.
But Blanchette always had the nice. I mean, that was actually where we played Legion All-Star games. Was at Blanchette. So
that's
anyway,
crazy.
So what we're saying is, I enjoy Blanchette, and Blanchette is you're improving on the greatness of Blanchette.
The Parks Department, they do a great job for us. When the field's questionable, if I go out there and the guy who takes care of our fields out there, he's working his butt off to get as playable as he can. So
that's all you can ask.
Exactly.
So enough about the field, I guess. So we'll start talking about players because I know people are watching more about the team and not the facility. So I was looking through and I told you before we started, you have a lot of people coming back that got experience last year, which talking to you, obviously some of them are pressed into action probably a little sooner than you would have planned. Yeah. But they nevertheless coming back this year, they got the experience.
Right. They got that varsity experience. It's a big jump between JV, freshman to varsity. Some of these young guys got that experience right away. Whether they're ready or not, some of them stepped up and really performed, and other guys I can count on going into the spring.
Well, and the talent in the North, I mean, some of the players you're playing, I mean, it's a huge jump. You got some D1 guys down there it's a jump going from they're playing at 8th grade, and I know you had one freshman that got some ABs for you. Yeah. That's a big jump from 8th grade 14U, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, this kid is throwing 88. It's a jump. So on the bright side, you got a lot of returners. Kind of go through some of these returning starters. I mean, I don't know what position would you like to start at? We'll go there.
Yeah. So we'll start with our first baseman, Caden Hammer. He's coming back. He's a senior this year. He was an all-conference player his sophomore year. Had an injury that put him out last season, which really hurt us. So Caden at first again. We got most of our infield returning. Mason Hickerson played second last year for us. Was all-conference infielder, and then his sophomore year is all-conference outfielder. So he's returning for a two-time all-conference player for us. Shortstop, we had some young guys fill in at shortstop last year. Colton Hadler stepped up due to injury, so he'll get some playing time. Brady Reed also will play shortstop for us. He kind of is a super utility guy. He can play anywhere on the field, whether it's pitcher,
you need those.
Outfield. Yeah, it's great where I can put him in the lineup any position and he'll know what to do with it. Nate Mosley was our number one pitcher last year. He was going to be our number 3, but a couple guys got hurt. He stepped up and did really well for us as our number 1. Expected to come back out and have a big year on the mound, and he'll play third base for us. And we got some other guys like Hayden Schneider, good bullpen guy, good lefty thrower for us. Plays some outfield, takes pretty quality at bats. Wyatt Savory is a senior. Didn't get much playing time last year. With Wyatt, he asked us last year what he can do to get on the field more. We gave him some, Coach Forney and I gave him some things that we want him to work on. he showed it in practice, worked on it, and got some playing time late in the season for us.
That's all you can ask.
And then we have a couple other seniors that are returning that got a little bit of playing time for us. But yeah, we're kind of counting on our senior leadership this year. Much of those guys.
I mean, you have a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I don't know, 10 guys coming back.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned several of these guys, Hickerson, Hammer, they were up as sophomores.
Yeah, so those guys started as sophomores. Nate Mosley started as a sophomore.
So that's such an advantage having guys for 3 years, because then that leadership of the expectations, what needs to get done. So that helps a lot, especially you said Mosley's also third base, and then he's on the mound, which he started 9 games for you last year.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I'm guessing he's going to be competing for one of those conference starts.
Yeah. Project him as being our Tuesday starter for conference. Have some young guys who need to push him for that number 1 spot, and I think we have some talent to do that. So Nate knows he's a competitor, ultra competitor. Like he doesn't have the highest velo, but he knows how to pitch, he knows how to throw strikes and compete. He gives us a shot every single time he takes the mound.
You're going to go out and throw strikes, just don't walk people.
Right.
You can stay in games.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's a huge advantage to know. I love when you put a pitcher on the mound, you know, hey, he's going to compete for us, he's going to throw strikes.
Yeah.
If he gets hit, he gets hit, but they're going to have to earn it. You're not going to beat yourself.
Exactly.
So, catcher,
yeah. Nick Basansene, he started for us as a freshman, so freshman catcher for us last year, did a fantastic job. He'll come back and be our starting catcher again this year.
So you had a freshman catcher at the end of last year and a freshman shortstop at the end of last year.
Our shortstop kind of took over at the start of the season, pretty early, and then towards the end, our Brady came back in and played shortstop for us as he got healthy. So there was one point in the game against Ellsbury. We came back and won that game. At that point, we had 4 freshmen on the infield, 1 on the mound, 1 at first, 1 behind the plate, and 1 at short.
Which goes well for you this year, of like getting that experience and just understanding the speed of the game and what you need to do to be ready to play G.A.C. games.
Exactly.
But last year, and obviously, I mean, last year was more of a struggle with. I mean, it's tough to win when you have 4 freshmen on the field.
Right. Yeah.
So
like I mentioned, like we had the injury bug hit us hard and early, and so those guys stepped up. Our record wasn't great. You know, I thought if we could go 500 last year, that would have been a really good year for us. Obviously, we fell well short of that.
Losing 4, having 4 freshmen out there, nothing. You can have great freshmen, but in the G.A.C., winning with 4 freshmen winning with 1 freshman on the field is challenging. So, but for this year, they're back.
They're back.
So
they're back. They got that year experience.
You got your seniors back that were hurt, and them. So this could be.
I'm excited for this group. A lot of them are working really hard, whether it's in their own facility or with us in our after-school weight program. I'm excited for what we have coming back this year.
So catcher, you talked about the infield a little bit. Center field.
Yeah, so we'll have Caleb McCullen will play center field for us. He played part of the season in center, part in left, part at first. Kind of filled in at first when Caden got hurt. But he's like 6'3", I don't know what he weighs. He's a big dude that can run. He doesn't look like an outfielder necessarily, but he is fast and he can cover lots of ground. The pop wasn't there like we expected last year, but he has some serious pop, and I think he'll hit a few home runs for us this year. So
that's always fun.
Yeah.
It makes it a little easier to get on 3-run home runs. Like, wow.
So he'll be a middle-of-the-order kind of guy for us. And he can run, so.
So you got center, left, and right. Are those returners? Or I know you mentioned the lefty. I forgot his name already. That was in the outfield a little bit for you.
Hayden Schneider. He'll fill in. He'll play some right field for us. He'll be a pitcher for us. Matthew Robertson, Lucas Skeen, those guys will get some opportunities in right field. They're sophomores now. Both Lucas and Matthew are both pitchers as well, so they'll get lots of time on the mound for us. Curtis Harris is a senior who got some playing time last year. Had 22 at-bats. He was productive in his at-bats, so he may get some more playing time out there as well. So right field, there's a spot to win. There's really any spot to win. Anyone who steps up can win a spot. But right now, right field is a spot there. Can be a spot where you guys can rotate a little bit. In the left field, we have a guy returning who's a junior, Hunter Broad, who played really well for us in left field. So he'll be a guy that pitches and plays left field for us.
So you got Mosley kind of Tuesday-ish.
Yeah.
Robertson, another one.
Yeah.
You said Lucas Skeen.
Yeah.
Possible throw quite a bit for you.
Yeah, I think whether it's him or Matthew Robertson being 2A, 2B, we'll see who steps up, but they'll both get their opportunities to pitch, and whoever's not the Tuesday, Wednesday starter will be the Friday starter. And then
even on the mound, you got a lot of guys that pitched.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some experience. I mean, to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys that threw at all.
Yeah.
Even if it was a little bit, they got some experience.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
And I know we've talked with different coaches in the North. One of the biggest differences is the depth.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have 10 guys coming back that can all throw, it gives you some options to compete later in games, and especially younger guys getting in there.
Yeah.
Although I noticed your catcher last year hit 318 as a freshman.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
That's
really good. Great job by you.
Yeah. Nick is he's extremely hardworking. He's a pretty talented kid. He's not
play other sports or just baseball?
No, just baseball. He's not built like a freshman. He's physically more mature.
Wow.
So he could handle that. Catching all of our games. I think he came out of one game last year. We were losing kind of bad. Actually, we actually came back and won that game. We're down 11-1.
Which had nothing to do with taking him out of the
game.
game.
No, it didn't. We were down 11-1. I was like, I'm going to give him a rest for his last couple innings, and we actually came back and won 17-11 in that game. So
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, Nick will be kind of our leader behind the plate for us. Hopefully, Brady Reed can catch too. He maybe will help us out behind the plate too, because Nick can also pitch. And with these, with the rules in place for pitchers, and we got to keep arms fresh. And
well, the amount of UCL stuff and Tommy John, it seems like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
As a coach, the last thing you want to do is put a kid in a situation that hurts them, and not that you're hurting them, but making sure that you're not extending them too early in the season. Yeah. I know some of the other teams play tournaments early. Do you guys do tournaments, or do you just do more doubleheaders on Saturdays to try?
So we open up that opening weekend. We're at Car Shield. So Mark Valley from St. Louis Patriots organizes it. It's not really a tournament, but you just tell them how many games you played. So we'll play 3 that opening weekend.
Oh, that's good.
1 Friday night at Car Shield and 2 Saturday.
That's great. So, Car Shield's a great environment to play at, especially again night game. Although night game early in the year.
Well, yeah, I think our game
chilly.
Our game may be early that Friday. Last year is I don't think we started till 7:30 or 8 o'clock that night. So, but this time I think we might play 11 that day on that Friday opening day. So
that'd be much better.
Yeah.
From years of doing that. It gets
Yeah.
It can get real cold real quick.
Yes, it does. Well, 2 years ago it snowed. And I don't like canceling games, especially when I have a field to play on. So
especially on turf.
Yeah.
Which I think is a downside of, we saw it in the state Final Four last year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining. Well, it's turf. Yeah, but you still have to be able to feel your fingers and throw a ball.
Right.
So there's that balance of okay, at what point do we say,
this isn't smart?
It does not make sense anymore, which I think that turf does make it really difficult because, you're not getting bad hops.
Yeah.
I'm really, to me, it always comes down to, can the pitcher throw effectively? Can they get the grip on the ball, whether it's the cold with we were at one tournament and our pitchers hit 4 guys in a row because they couldn't feel their fingers, and it's this might not be good because they're throwing upper 80s.
Well, then the other team gets angry because the guys keep getting hit, and it just creates tension.
Why are you throwing our heads? Well, I'm not.
Right.
I can't even feel with my fingers.
Right.
So, but yes, Car Shield, you got turf, so hopefully even a 40-degree weather, it's still you can play baseball at 40 as long as you're not dealing with the precipitation.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good. You get to start over there.
Yeah.
You guys typically, last year you played 28 games. That kind of around the same sort of.
So
with pitching, which you have more returning pitching.
Yeah.
So
I like to try to keep around 30. This year, I scheduled 34.
Yeah.
So I felt like with the amount of arms we have on our team this year, with some young guys, I think that will step up for us. I want to get as much playing time as possible with our guys. I scheduled a little bit fewer games on JV and on our C teams because I want more of those young guys having the opportunity to play varsity.
Yeah.
So lighten this load a little bit at the lower levels and increase our varsity schedule. I felt like we could handle 34 games this year. So
especially, you got young guys, you got a lot of returners. Yeah. It's tough to get everyone innings.
Yeah.
So to give more opportunities, more games is a great thing. So it's a wonderful aspect there. Ninth grade. I know last year you played, well, you had 4 freshmen on the field.
Yeah.
Any freshmen coming in that potentially could contribute?
Yeah, I have a couple good freshmen, but one guy in particular I think will get some varsity playing time. A kid named Luke Whitty. So I've seen him play. I've seen him at camps. I've watched him. He's going to be a really good player for us. So I think he'll get some playing time early with us and see how he handles the varsity level and see what he can do. So he's a kid that I think will jump in and get some playing time early for us as we kind of figure out what we have before we get to conference play. So
You never, until you can see him.
Yeah.
And different teams do it differently. Like when a kid like that, or in general, during tryouts, do you look at all the kids, or do you trust your lower level? Each school does it a little bit different. For you guys at St. Charles, like, I wonder what tryouts are going to look like.
Yeah.
A little preview of kind of what to expect.
So what we do, because we don't have at Blanchette, there's 2 high school size fields, right? And Duchesne gets a field, and we get a field. I used to go varsity practice first 2:45 to 5, and then JV and freshmen would overlap from basically 4 to 6. I've changed it. So now we practice all together. All levels are together, so which can be challenging.
In some ways it is, but
I get to evaluate all my players all the time, and my other coaches get to coach the varsity guys, or they get to see the lower level guys. So I get to have more interaction with the freshman kids than maybe what other programs get to, because we're going all together. Now, the amount of detail into the practice plan and to make sure we stay on time and get everything in that we want to, I got to have a very detailed practice plan in order to.
So how many players, I mean, between all 3 levels, how many players are you looking at?
Around 38.
So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially you get to BP.
Yeah. So we
just have Forney keep throwing.
Yeah. He loves it though. He loves it.
Well, that's a high school. He could throw every day.
Oh my gosh.
So.
So
good job, Austin.
With him, he's a high energy guy, and sometimes you got to keep him on track because he's.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's been many days, all enjoyable. Coach Forney.
The kids, the kids absolutely love that dude. I think the way he communicates with the players, connects with them, he's fantastic. And our other coaches are great too. Within our program, our JV coach, Cody Thorne, and then our freshman coach, Derek O'Donnell. They do a great job with our guys too. But I think it's great to have that time with all of our kids together. We do separate where varsity is maybe on the field while JV and C teams in the cages getting cage work in. We'll do like live situations while one group's in the cage, the other group maybe doing the base running. So they're getting live reps base running while we're doing live reps fielding. So we try to incorporate together, but have it very structured where we're all getting something accomplished.
I think by doing that, when you do you have injuries and younger ones have to come up. One, they're familiar with the other players. Like, they're not strangers. They've at least been on the field together doing things, terminology, expectation, coaches. All. I think it's that aspect of it so important.
Right. Yep.
So there's a lot of pros to it. I mean, the cons are just, it's a lot of kids to organize and stay structured, and that's where the prep and the practice plan is so important. But I think if you can do it, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because it allows you to assess, like, your freshman players and go, hey, this kid's ready, or he's better fit on JV. So, and you have 4 coaches all seeing these things instead of just one.
I agree, and I think it's the most important piece is having all the coaches get to work with all the kids, all the players. And I have a 5th coach too, a guy who volunteers for me, Kevin Kendrick, who does a great job. So it's always nice to have extra eyes, extra set of hands helping out, and Kevin does a great job for us. So,
and that's coaching high school compared to like club. Coaching high school, the pay is not nearly as good. The responsibilities every day and all these things. So the more a volunteer, I mean, technically, I was never a coach. I volunteered for the last 25 years.
Oh my gosh!
So I was never a contracted coach at all. I turned it down several times so that we could have a 3rd coach because. There's just so many kids, and then you break out by position, and hey, you're working outfield, infield. Like, the more guys there, especially knowledgeable guys, it's just beneficial. So it sounds like you got 5 guys that you can trust, and that's
absolutely,
that's huge.
Yeah.
But team, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can do with all these returners.
Yeah.
I mean, especially some of those freshmen, just the jump physically they make between 9th and 10th grade, the strength, and then they have experience. I mean, you guys could be pretty dangerous this year.
Yeah, I think so. G.A.C. North is tough. I mean,
yeah.
I know it's maybe not as big as the other conferences, other sides in our conference, but G.A.C. North is very good baseball. We don't, in our side, we don't have POs or anything like that. Everyone's a two-way for the most part. But yeah, I think this conference, the G.A.C. North this year, I don't know if there's a clear favorite for it.
It's going to be a tough, and Holt coming down is a new dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Coach Allen and I were talking yesterday, just because he works in our building too as a PE teacher, and we were just kind of talking about our conference, and we both mentioned like, I don't know who's gonna. We're just gonna all be up on each other. We think. I know my record last year was 1-9 conference, but
it doesn't.
I don't think that's gonna
reflect the talent you have.
No, I don't think so either. So I think it's gonna be a battle. I don't know who's gonna be the favorite.
You got a new coach at Orchard Farm.
Yeah,
should be. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics shifting. It'll be interesting. Warrenton was very good. Wes. I mean. But I think with the returners you have and the younger guys getting the experience, you're going to be right in it.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch.
I think so too.
I'll be out watching games because I got nothing else to do. I'm going to go out and just watch how other coaches get things done.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be a good group.
Yeah. I'm excited for this spring.
Keep them healthy.
I'm just hopefully weather cooperates and we get this cold weather out of the way early and then it's warm. Start March 3rd. So
that was always my hope.
Yeah, right.
And normally it would tease you a little bit and be very warm early, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's not as warm anymore.
Right. Well, in the first week, we've been lucky, I think, to get outside the first week for tryouts, and then the 2 weeks after that, it's always rainy, and then we're always stuck inside. So
Missouri baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's until Blanchette gets turf. You're going to be. Yeah, I know the dream. You know the reality. Maybe sometime.
There's been talk. There's never talks, but. We asked.
There's been dreams.
There's been dreams, yeah. Lots of dreams. So.
The turf would take away from the old school feel of Blanchette.
Yeah.
So they're trying to preserve the history.
Well.
At least that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
It's like C&H with turf wouldn't feel right.
No.
But Howe Central with turf apparently is going to. They got it this year. Howe Francis Howe Central.
Yeah, I knew that. So. I was going to ask some questions about that Austin after.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I know nothing, but the turf.
Yeah,
is definitely. I'm curious when it gets to a St. Charles West or some of these other schools.
Yeah,
because it definitely. I know from talking to Coach Rogers, he was talking about just the practice time that you get because you're able to stay out there.
Yeah,
like you don't get rained out. Like Blanchette, it rains, you might not be on the field for 2 days.
Right. Oh yeah.
So
we don't have a tarp, which is nice. Like not to do tarp duty. They don't let us do any field maintenance ourselves. Which I'm fortunate not to have to do that, like after games and things like that. But there's also part of me that wishes my guys would get that opportunity to have that responsibility to help take care of the field more.
Yeah.
Which they have their jobs as far as clean up the dugouts, make sure everything's in order. But
yeah, there's something special about that tarp duty.
Yeah.
That is an experience.
You hate it, but you love it at the same time.
Yes. You put it on the next day at 65 and you're playing, you're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
But it is not. It's part of baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
See, all you guys with turf, you don't get to experience that. You're missing out on the greatness of tarp duty, which I guess I'm okay with. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Get out, watch Coach Bichel and St. Charles play. It's going to be some good games this spring. So appreciate you watching. Come back and watch next time. Thank you.